pass person, you probably feel about as good as my feet do right now. If you're a one-day person, you're probably in such shock that you don't even really realize where you are. Give you a moment to compose yourself. We're going to try that once again, because you got to impress the panelists to come up here and want to divulge all the secrets they're going to divulge. So 1, 2, 3. Hello, New York City. You're all here for the DC New 52 Young Justice panel, correct?
Nope.
All right, we're not going to waste any more time. First up to the stage, I want to bring one of the men who is the architect of the New 52, and he oversees pretty much everything that goes on editorially. We have him here for his acumen and insight today. That is Eddie Berganza. Eddie?
You guys sound really pumped up, so that's great to hear. And I want to say thank you, seriously, thank you to all of you for making this 52 event an event. It's been great, and you guys are just making it really amazing, and we're kicking butt, so give yourselves a clap for making it such a great event. Let's bring up more of our Young Justice people.
So first up, we want to talk about Blue Beetle, and we're going to bring up the writer of Blue Beetle, the lovely and talented Tony Bedard.
This is a you have discovered too soon that this is a panel about the comics, not the TV show. Yeah. This is about the 52 relaunch. All the teenage superheroes.
I actually caught a little flack from a few people who thought I put too much Spanish in Blue Beetle.
Not enough.
There you go.
Not enough.
So Tony, very quickly in issue 1,
I have discovered this too late.
Two parallel storylines. We've got, I guess, for lack of a better term, because we don't know yet, the Hive Masters, and then what's going on in El Paso. So maybe you can tease a little bit before we start showing pages. How these
Do you guys want to stay? Do you guys want to stay?
You know, one thing I want to say, actually, before we get into that, is that I was the biggest fan of the last Blue Beetle series. I thought it was just terrific, and I was really kind of intimidated taking on this this new version. But you know, we wanted to make some changes, make it all fresh, and make things harder on Jaime, and make his relationship with the armor more adversarial, you know, more difficult. He can't. Not everybody is in on his secret, you know, and so I hope that you guys like the new take on it. In any case, issue 5 cover.
That's the issue 5 cover there.
Yeah, and this is the issue where Paco gets a real bad case of heartburn, and Jaime doesn't know what to do. You know, and it's a little awkward for Jaime to be being fused to this armor, because you know the armor is technically an illegal alien, and he kind of, you know, things were just fine in his family until that came along. That's a terrible, terrible joke. But in any case, yeah, we have two big forces that are up against Jaime. The Reach is the interstellar empire that created the armor, and the armor itself is supposed to be like a one-man wrecking crew that takes over a whole planet.
Spectre.
So Jaime's got damage so that it can't quite control him in the way it needs to take over Earth, but it really wants to. And so he has to kind of teach it human values and restrain it. And at the same time, he's also got trouble from his best buddy Brenda's aunt, who is secretly the cartel queenpin of El Paso, and she's trying to get control of him. I guess this was from issue 2 here. No?
Have you guys seen it?
No?
Okay, well, we can trust you guys won't take any photos, or no spoilers, right? It just stays in the room?
Well, that's the first time that Jaime is in action as Blue Beetle, and it's very awkward. He doesn't know what the capabilities are of the armor, and he has to, you know, basically muddle his way through it. And poor Paco doesn't know who this guy is that's coming up. But anyways, hilarity ensues. Got another slide. Do I sound just perfectly lovely? Because I feel like I'm dying right in front of you.
It's Sunday, no one's counting.
Good. But this is Jaime up against Plasmus and Phobia of the, I guess formerly of the Brotherhood. One of the fun things about this whole thing is getting a new take on some of these established villains, and also coming up with new villains for these guys.
Yeah, did you guys like the way we reimagined Plasmus and Phobia? Yeah, 'cause that's just the start. You'll be seeing, just because the same way that we, gave everybody, as far as the heroes, a new look, you're going to be seeing villains amped up in different ways. So this is kind of our little beginning.
You know, one more page?
When Eddie offered me the book, he said in a nutshell, it's kind of like Green Lantern meets Spider-Man, and that, like Green Lantern, he got this super powerful weapon from space, and like Spider-Man, he's just a kid.
I think I said Spider-Man. I don't think I've ever mentioned this.
That's just fine. We're all one big happy family, right?
In the Twitter feeds, light up.
I think what I said is Green Lantern meets Star Wars. With him being Luke Skywalker, or Senor Luke Skywalker.
In any case, this is all going terribly wrong. So, anyways, that's just more of the fighting, and Jaime has a whole lot to discover about this armor and how he's going to turn it from the ultimate cosmic weapon into a force for good. And we're also going to really play up the Reach as a major cosmic menace. In fact, in my other book, Green Lantern New Guardians, we're going to also see the Reach have a major role in that, probably around issue 7 or 8. And you'll get a real sense for just how badass those guys are and how destructive they can be. They're a mortal threat to the Earth, and the clock is ticking for Jaime to figure out how to control this stuff and basically, turn their own weapon against them.
See.
Thank you, Tony. As quite often happens on a Sunday at a convention, flight schedules occur, and Tony has to leave now to go to one of the fine airports here in the tri-state area and get the heck out of Dodge.
I have a whole plane load of people that get sick, so. But thanks for coming out.
Thank you, Tony. All right, we bring him up and they leave. Eddie still remains. We have to replace him. Next up, we're going to talk about Hawk and Dove. We're going to have the writer Sterling Gates. Uh-oh, and I've just been informed we also have the illustrator, Mr. Rob Liefeld. Rob? What's that?
What's the album? You said
You said Avatar of War.
Avatar of War.
Yes.
Avatar of War.
Hi! New York. I'm Sterling Gates. This is Rob Liefeld. We do a book together called Hawk and Dove.
Who's who?
Well, Hawk is the Avatar of War. Yeah! And Dove is the Avatar of Peace. There you go. What? Who's the Avatar of Peace?
The duality is now complete.
And yeah, is this the cover of 5?
That's the cover of 5. And actually, the next few slides we have our previews of issue 3. So you guys are really seeing stuff that nobody's seen.
Issue 3 is the battle for the White House versus Condor and Swan, our other avatars.
Do you like it?
That's awesome. Yeah, so we introduced in 1 Condor, who's our anti-Hawk, and then if you guys have read 2, which came out 2 weeks ago, well, we introduced Swan, who's the anti-Dove. And issue 3 is the battle for the White House, and they're fighting through the East Wing. Just some Secret Service agents. And Condor and Swan are some really nasty customers. And Rob, a year and some change ago, Rob called me and said he wanted me to write this book. And so we came up with this plan to do other avatars. And just go kind of balls to the wall with action and big, loud, brash comic books, like comics that we enjoyed reading when we were kids. And so we wanted to do like a really loud, book. And so it gets loud, and then 4 and 5 and 6 it gets louder. There's Swan versus
A blonde?
You look painful.
Where's that? I'm showing love for your book. What's it? Rob, why don't you talk for a while?
I wish we'd just call the book Dove, and because she's awesome, and the more we draw her, I just think she needs more and more of the book, but she has to share it with Hawk, and I'm not going to win that argument anytime soon, so it'll say Hawk and Dove.
Hawk hates that he has to share too. Hawk's not a sharing person.
Yeah, so Hawk's going to break the fourth wall in the 6th issue and start talking directly to the reader how much that book's, if that's a joke.
Oh, you read the script? Cool.
But no, like I said, Sterling really set up in issue 2 this whole White House battle. Issue 3 is balls to the wall, great 20 pages of Hawk and Dove being surprised they don't know these other avatars exist. They didn't know they have these counter avatars, which are Condor and Swan. In the original miniseries that I did with the Kiesels, Barbara and Carl, we introduced Kestrel, who was another avatar who fans really seem to dig. I can tell you right now, by issue 4, Condor will put Kestrel into the floor in terms of how much he creeps you out. The last page of 3, which we cannot show you, is the big twist that when I got it, I was like, wow, Sterling, this is awesome. I mean, we've already shown you that Swan is a little twisted 14-year-old girl who murdered another avatar to gain her powers, but the reveal at the end of issue 3 is fantastic. And issue 4 is called The Interrogation, and they have Condor. I guess I don't want to say too much more, but it's a great, twisted, dark book that we learn more about Hawk and Dove and how important Dove is to the DC universe. Jeff Johns kind of alluded to how important she was when he was doing Darkest Night and Blackest Night. Sorry, my kids correct me all the time. It's Blackest Night, Dad. Okay. And Brightest Day. Thanks. He alluded to, because Jeff had a thing for Dove, and I think Sterling is really building a great kind of new mythology for her. She's a great character.
They needed. I love that series, the Kiesels in the '80s, but I really felt like they needed a bigger mythology to them, because they're really great characters by themselves. But what happens when you learn more about where they come from, where their powers come from? Because in a classic '60s origin that Steve Skeets and Steve decoded, where it was just like they needed power, and a mysterious voice said, "Say Hawk and Dove, and you'll get powers." And so they say Hawk and Dove, and they get powers, and no one really got into why that happened, why they were chosen to get those powers. And so we really wanted to dig into these characters and their mythology and their great mythology, and explain and dig into their relevance in the DCU, because they have a very specific reason for being in the New 52 and for being a part of the DCU as it is now. And we're going to get into that. We're also going to reveal, if you guys are issue 1, Dawn Dove had a relationship of some kind with Hank Hall's former partner, Dawn, and we get into that in 7 and 8, and we get pretty deep into that as Hank, I can't tell you that. As some things happen, it's really crazy. Avatar War! Avatar War! That will never get old.
You just coined the phrase, so you grabbed it. Avatar War and its adherence. Avatar War!
I'm thinking that's a spin-off book now. That's it.
Do it.
And I'll always hear you. I'm telling you, for the next week when I draw Hawk, that's all I'm going to hear.
I'm going to put that in. I'll put that in an issue.
One thing I want to add before we move on is it's just great that DC has brought back characters like Hawk and Dove. DC has always had what I think is the best bench in comics. I've always been a huge fan of all the Captain Adams, the Blue Beetles, the Hawk and Doves, the lesser known Teen Titans. That's the stuff that always, the Legion of Substitute Heroes. So it's just great that in the 52, instead of doing 52 Batman books, they let us do Hawk and Dove.
No, they only did 7 Batman books.
So I'm just really thankful to DC and for you guys for supporting it. Thank you.
A big chunk of what goes on in the Young Justice family, of course, revolves around